What is going on, Raiders? Soda Dragon here. Welcome, and I hope you guys are doing well. So what have I got for you guys today? Well, I got a really cool use for the Void Legendary Jingwon that was buffed recently. So just for fun, let's take a look at Jingwon's user reviews to see what people think about him that actually have him. And check this out. All red. But I'm telling you guys, not only did this recent buff work, that means he's usable, but he's actually really good in the arena. In particular, this guy can be your hard Kymar counter in the arena. Now, most people that use Kymar in the arena, especially on Go First teams, will use him for his A2 here, and they'll lead off with this A2, and it's a buff strip, plus it's a CC, that is sleep. So for those of you guys who don't know, CC champions on Go First teams are currently the meta. Now guys, I understand I'm speaking to a broad audience. Some of you guys might be like, duh, well of course you use a CC champ on a Go First team. And other people might be like, what? Wait a second. Really? I thought we used double turn meter boosters or something like that. So what would your average team look like using Prince Kymar in the arena? Well, it'd be something like this. So you would have Arbiter or somebody like her Go First, turn meter booster team, put up that attack up. Now she's going to be really fast, the fastest of your whole team. Second fastest is going to be your Kymar because he's going to strip everyone's buffs and put that sleep on him. And hopefully he's speed tuned with Arbiter so no one can cut in between those two. Now once you have everyone slept, your nuker and the buff stripper slash defense down champs, something like a Madame Saris, can take their time. They can go crazy slow. They can be under 200 speed. It doesn't matter because everybody on the other team is going to waste a turn because they've been slept. So a fast nuker is out of the meta. You do not need a fast nuker anymore. In fact, it's better that you don't have a fast nuker because you're letting everyone waste their turns. If you attack them before they take their first turn, even if they're slept, they could still have reaction accessories active, which is bad because that crit could turn into a normal hit. We absolutely do not want that. We want them to waste their first turns, actually take them and waste them, and then we nuke them. Now, of course, Kymar has an added benefit. Not only does he strip buffs and sleep everybody, but he also resets your whole team's cooldowns. So for now, let's just set this aside. Yes, it's really OP to have your skills just being reset, but let's not focus on that right now because everyone with their Kymars in the arena, at least for speed teams, are going to lead off with their A2s. So let's focus on that. So without getting into too much depth, what Jingwon does is he is not going to let your team be put to sleep. So that means that huge gap between your enemy's turn meter booster, their Kymar, and maybe their nuker. Remember, nukers are made slow nowadays, like under 200 speed. That huge speed gap, that Arbiter might be 350 plus, and the nuker is maybe 170. There's a huge speed gap there, and that gap could be taken advantage of if you had protection against CC effects. And with Jingwon, you do. So Jingwon is going to be a hard counter to all those Go First Kymar teams. I have plenty of footage. It's awesome. All right, guys, back to Jingwon. So why can he protect our team against AoE CC effects? Well, it's because of his passive here, Unchained. Now, the passive effect of this passive always works. That means Jingwon himself is always immune to CC effects, period. But check out the active effect. This is what got buffed recently. At the end of each enemy or ally turn, removes all fear, true fear, freeze, provoke, sleep, stun, and petrification debuffs from all allies and places a block debuffs buff for 1 turn on allies who have debuffs removed. Now guys, this is on a 6-turn cooldown, bookable to 4, so this isn't just going to work like every single turn, but actually we don't need it to. So when Kymar tries to put your team to sleep, well, Jingwon is not going to let that happen. He's going to cleanse all your team of all CC effects and put a block debuffs on them if they've had any CCs removed. Now guys, the craziest thing with this passive is firstly, Jingwon does not need to take a turn for this stuff to work. He doesn't have to take a turn at all. That means it doesn't even matter how you build him. As long as he can live through that first CC of Kymar, which is pretty minimal. Most Kymars aren't made for damage. As long as he can live through it, I mean, that's it. He's gonna cleanse everybody. And secondly, we only need him to do this cleanse once. What does that mean? He doesn't have to be booked. So you barely gear, or maybe don't even gear your Jingwon. You don't have to 6-star him. Just make him live through Kymar's A2. That's it. And don't even put any books on him, and he will serve as your hard Kymar counter. How many legendaries can you think of that are a hard counter to a very common arena opponent in Kymar, and they barely need to be geared, they don't need to be 6-starred, and they don't need to be booked? The value this guy brings is insane considering how little you have to do with him. You don't even need to build him with accuracy, resistance, or nothing. Just barely gear him to keep him alive through Kymar's A2, which will be pretty easy. Unbooked, no 6 stars. Come on, man. How much more can you ask of a legendary? As far as Jingwon's other skills, we're not going to focus on them today because they're really irrelevant to being a Kymar counter. And that is primarily why we're looking at Jingwon today, how to use them in the arena to counter those CC champs / Kymars. So just to reiterate, if you have Jingwon, you can actually run a go second team against Kymars that can win. That is really, really good. Are you tired of fighting the speed fight in the arena? That is always trying to get faster and faster and faster. Well, with Jingwon, you don't have to. Let him go first. Do it, I dare you. And you know what's gonna happen? You're gonna cut in right in the middle before the nuker, and you're gonna win that fight. So guys, here are some ways that you can use Jingwon on your arena teams. Now, the first is just to slot him in on your go first arena team, because just because you plan for your team to go first doesn't mean you're always going to go first, right? So what Jingwon does is give you added protection going against other go first teams, just in case they happen to be faster. So on a team like this, Jingwon would be your insurance policy just in case. Now, of course, on a team like this, I plan to go first. I plan for my Arbiter to go first, Tormin to boost everyone, then my Kymar does his A2, puts the other team to sleep, and then my Trunda can nuke. But just in case I'm not fast enough, you know what? Jingwon provides that protection. So yes, even if the other team's faster and his Kymar tries to sleep your team because they're faster, they're not. You're gonna cut in and you're gonna beat that team. So no guys, you don't need a ton of legendaries on your team to make a Jingwon team work, except Jingwon, that is. So this team right here would function the exact same as the last team I showed you. So we have Deacon here, he's gonna be your turn meter boost. We have Umbro here, is gonna be your AoE CC champ. In fact, she does it better than Kymar. She's a 2-turn CC. Ridiculous, okay? Plus she's avoids, so she's not gonna weak hit. You have Magnar here for the damage. So this type of team works exactly the same. So whatever you have, whoever you can substitute in, all you need is a turn meter booster, a CC champ, and your damage champ with Jingwon. That's it. But guys, here is my favorite Jingwon team, because this team doesn't even try to go first. I actually just let them go first. No turn meter boosters here. I just let them go first, and I win by going second. So what happens here, usually their Arbiter goes first, turn meter boosts their Kymar enough to go second. That Kymar goes, strips my buffs, tries to put everybody to sleep. My Jingwon cleanses everybody, and now it's my turn. I put their skills on cooldown with Warlord, I put them to sleep, and then I nuke them with my Trunda. Now, of course, all of this works in glorious full auto. You gotta see this in action, it's freaking sweet. And guys, remember, just in case you don't have a Warlord, you can use a Basher. A Basher will work just as good as Warlord for our purposes. And of course, if you happen to have Yumiko, like I pulled this last weekend, then yes, you can use her too. All right, guys, let's see this in action. Once again, I'm not even trying to go first. Let them go first, I don't care. I just need to be faster than their nuker, that's it. Okay, put me to sleep. Nope. Gets cleansed, block debuffs. Now I do get stripped here, but notice what's happening with Trunda. Yes, that is a protected block debuffs buff, because guess what kind of set I have in my Jingwon? It's not necessary, but yeah, I got a protection set on him, which is pretty OP. I don't know how many champions can put block debuffs on your champs without taking a turn, and you can use that protection set on them. So it's pretty powerful to use that protection set. All right, and of course, she's going down. There you go. Next up, guys, got another Kymar team here with Foley as a nuker, so we don't really care about block revive because we don't have a reviver anyway, so we're not planning to revive in this fight. Let's see how this goes. Once again, let them go first. Who cares? This is a go second team. Go ahead. Not trying to win the speed race. Tries to put me to sleep. It's not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. Put their skills on cooldown. Put them to sleep. And of course, Trunda's gonna come in with a big nuke. Look at that protected block debuffs buff. Awesome to see that. I did get the stun off. It's all right. There you go. Now, guys, you might be wondering if a protection set is required for your Jingwon. Absolutely 100% not at all. The minimum you need is you need your Jingwon tough enough to last through that Kymar A2. That is it. Which requires like a minimum of gear, maybe 1 to 2 gear pieces. Now, if you have protection gear, sure, use it on them. It helps. But no, absolutely, you do not need protection gear on your Jingwon, all right? So just because I do it, just because I have it, doesn't mean you have to have it or do it. Let them go first. Go ahead. Nope, not gonna happen. I didn't get any protected block debuffs buffs, but it's okay. Nukem got a few stuns. All right, swift parry. They're going down. Nice reset, and we won. Now here we have a Kymar Candy team, but it's gonna be the same story. We're gonna cut in right after their Kymar tries to put us to sleep. Now, yes, you do need some speed on your champions because you need to be faster than the nuker, and the nuker is going to be turn meter boosted. You have to take that into account. But no, you don't have to go first at all. All right, getting some stuns. It's okay. Just Ceres left. Easy peasy. All right, guys, let's check out this Rotos Cardiel Duchess team. So this isn't a turn meter boosted team, but it should function the same. Once again, we're not trying to go first. They probably are, so they're gonna go first. There you go. Those block debuffs, buffs. Put them to sleep, and my Trunda's gonna nuke. All right, just have the Duchess to take care of. Now, we don't have defense down on this team, which is an issue against tankier opponents, but it's fine. Her skills are being put on cooldown, and we reset our skills, so we're good. And lastly, guys, I did want to show you that Jingwon works against Tormin teams. Now, does he work great against Tormin teams? No, he doesn't. He's not the best Tormin counter, but he can definitely help you out in a pinch. So yes, he can work against Tormins, just not optimally. Why is this? Because his cleansing passive does have a cooldown, but Tormin's freeze does not. Okay, so he can keep on freezing a lot every time you turn meter boost or buff your team. Whereas Jingwon, he needs time for that to cool down, to reset that cleanse. Besides himself, he can never be CC'd. But this is not the best use of your Jingwon. But can it work? Absolutely, it can work. You'll see. So like I mentioned, in a pinch, sure, use Jingwon. He works. I'm just saying it doesn't work the best, but yeah, he works. There you go. There's that cleanse. Put their skills on cooldown. Nuke them down. All right, Jingwon does whatever, doesn't matter. Decrease crit damage, decrease accuracy. Just gonna kill off that Duchess. Now we have the block debuffs buffs up. Now we can turn meter boost, whatever, won't get frozen. All right, just take them out. There you go. Like I mentioned, it does work. Not the best, but if you need him to do this for you, he can. Now guys, if you plan to make a Go Second team with Jingwon in the style that I showed you, the most important thing is your CC champ must be quite fast. Now everyone else doesn't necessarily need to be fast. At least with my team, you did see my Kymar was fast and my Warlord was fast, but that Warlord did not necessarily have to be fast. The Kymar, yes. So whoever your CC champion is here, it's Umbral. She needs to be very fast because you need to go before their nuker, and you need to account for their nuker being turn meter boosted by their leader. You need to account for that. So even though they're 170 speed or whatever, under 200 speed, they're being turn meter boosted. So you need to account for that and still go first. So I would say make your CC champ as fast as possible while still having the accuracy needed for whatever tier of arena you're in. But if you go first, sometimes you're so fast you go first with your CC champ before they even go, fine, you'll still win. That's no big deal. You don't have to go second, but definitely that is a requirement. Now once you've CC'd the other team, now you can go slow with the other champs. Your nuker doesn't have to be fast because the other team's CC'd. Right? Here we have Basher for putting those skills on cooldown. They don't necessarily have to be fast either. Okay, now if you have someone like Kymar, then you will need the Basher to go first because Basher will wake them up. But if you have someone like Umbral here, it doesn't matter. Basher can go second. Basher can be super slow, high accuracy. It'll work just fine. And as far as Jingwon here, he does not need any books. He does not need any speed. He doesn't need any stat whatsoever besides enough HP to outlast the Kymar's A2. Doesn't need resistance, doesn't need accuracy, doesn't need none of that, okay? Barely any gear in him, doesn't need to be ascended, doesn't need to be 6-starred. I mean, he barely needs anything and he's doing so much for you. All right, guys, that is it. Make sure to let me know in the comments what you think about Jingwon and his new buffs. And if you haven't yet, like, subscribe, and share. Turn on all notifications. Stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.